Hello, I'm Dr. Robert L. Wilson Jr., and thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today, I'd like to discuss the importance of a community or the sense of belonging to a community. First, I want to ask you a question. What are three benefits of being connected to a community? I'll give you a moment to think about that. Three benefits of being connected to a community or belonging to a community are developing resilience, becoming and accessing your resourcefulness, and taking accountability for setting your goals, taking action, and producing results. Robert, where did this come from? Well, I'm glad you asked. This was inspired by last month's Learning Action Networking Community meeting that meets the third Saturday of every month. So this was our June meeting that we had this great discussion. It's an entrepreneurial learning community. We had such a great meeting as always. And three things that came up in our meeting was resilience, resourcefulness, and accountability. We had such a rich and robust discussion on the importance of how would a community uh, assist an individual or group with cultivating resilience, resourcefulness, and accountability. So much so, I wanted to share that in my YouTube community to think about how to intentionally, purposefully, and strategically cultivate these three aspects or components in their development. So, based on that rich discussion that we had last month in our June meeting, I want to share these three concepts and their importance in our personal, professional, leadership, and organizational development. What you're also going to see in the description, you'll see four opportunities for you to join one or all of our communities. We have a community for wellness, so we have a wellness group, we have a leadership group, we have an entrepreneurial learning community, and we also have a relaxation and self-help group. So you'll see at the end of in the description section of this video, those four groups. Again, each of those groups meet every month. The wellness group meets the first Saturday of every month. The leadership group meets the second Saturday of every month. The entrepreneurial group meets the third Saturday of every month. And the relaxation and self-help group meets the fourth Saturday of every month. So the first concept we'll discuss is resilience. What is it? How do you develop it? How do you use it? And how does it impact or influence your development? And then we'll talk about some different tips and strategies of things that you can do to intentionally build resilience. As we have this conversation, these are things that you can do both individually and in a group. So think about how this might look if you're doing this by yourself or within your community. So one of the definitions of resilience that we'll use comes from a paper entitled Resilience Thinking, Integrating Resilience, Adaptability, and Transformability. What does that even mean? Resilience is your capacity or the capacity of people to effectively cope with, adjust, or recover from stress or adversity. I'm going to say that one more time. Resilience is the capacity of people to effectively develop or cope with, develop, adjust, or recover from stress or adversity. The components of resilience that are important to identify and discuss in this section um, as we have this conversation is capacity, an individual's capacity to be resilient, um, competency, your actual ability and skills to thrive, your confidence. Because when people are competent and have the skills, they can be more confident in using those skills. How you use those skills and competence to navigate challenges, and also your ability to create agility to be able to shift or adjust to circumstances and situations. The definition that we'll use comes from Dr. Michael Unger, who does a lot of work with resilience. He talks about really two important elements of resilience. One, having resources, either individual or collective. And then he talks about the mindset, what the individual or group of individuals are thinking and how they're thinking. So, having access to resources can help people to pivot, grow, adapt, and be resilient because they have the necessary um, resources to assist them in the process. A couple of things I want to share with that. So, being resilient has a lot to do. It's not always about bouncing back. It's not always about um, adjusting, or it may look different in different circumstances and situations. Regardless of the circumstance or situations, resilience is about you. It's about you or a group of people, their ability, their capacity, their mindset to be able to cope, deal with, recover, overcome, withstand uh, adversity, circumstances, or situations. And so it becomes really important to think about, how do we be resilient on purpose? A couple of things that can help cultivate that is journaling. Being able to write down your thoughts, being able to write down your challenges, being able to write down opportunities can help you to develop resilience. This is something that I implement in my own life. Journaling, I do gratitude journals, I do celebrating me journals, things that allow me to see um, qualities and characteristics and things about myself that I can appreciate or that I can develop. Also, using affirmations or affirmations. Affirmations, positive present tense statements that things that you say about yourself. Positive self-talk. Affirmations is positive present tense questions that you use to allow your mind, if you will, to reinforce the things that you're asking. So, an example of an affirmation is, I'm powerful and I'm strong. An example of an affirmation is, why am I so powerful and strong? So now the first one states that I'm powerful and strong. The second one allows me to use in a question form ways that's going to allow my mind to reinforce why I am powerful and strong. So these are things that you can definitely use in resilience. Also, books. Like I talked about Dr. Unger, he has written several books on resilience that has really helped me to think about what resilience looks like for me, or a lot of the work I do, I work with leaders and organizations, so I can talk to them a lot about how they can purposely implement uh, tools and resources to develop resilience in their the people that they serve. So just being mindful of what resilience looks like. So we just talked about resilience and having resources, but also the way we think, having a positive mindset, the ability to shift our perception helps with resilience in our life. But I want to talk to you about resourcefulness. What is it? How do you develop it? How do you use it? And how does it impact or influence our development? So, in terms of talking about resourcefulness, I want to be clear so that folks are not confused that resourcefulness is not always about having resources. Wait a minute, Robert. You just talked about resilience and you talked about having resources. Yes, I did talk about resilience and having resources. However, resourcefulness is more about your ability and your capacity to access the tools and resources within yourself, regardless of the resources available externally or outside yourself. So this is about that inner game, that internal game. Robert, aren't they the same thing? No, they're not. So let me share this for clarity's sake. Just because you have access to resources doesn't make you resourceful. Being resourceful is about you being able within yourself to be aware and identify strategies, ways, techniques that best serve you, regardless of your circumstances or situations or challenges that you face. Resourcefulness is about you and your ability to adapt, implement, connect, and take action about how you show up dealing with stress, adversity, circumstances, or situations. So, resourcefulness is about how you show up, how you become your greatest asset, how you become your greatest resource. Because a lot of times I've seen folks who have resources but don't effectively or efficiently use the resources that they have. And it wasn't because they didn't have resources, it was because they weren't resourceful within themselves. A couple things that can help you to become more resourceful: mindfulness, becoming aware, becoming non judgmental and curious about being present, being in the moment, uh, being able to ask yourself, what can I do in this situation? What can I learn in this situation? Being able to not attach negative or positive, but just be neutral and just observe. So, mindfulness can help you with that awareness. Another thing, NLP, which stands for neuro linguistic programming, this helps you with a lot of tools and strategies to develop internally ways to shift your perception, ways to reframe situations and circumstances, as well as many other techniques that help you to be empowered in situations and more victorious. And then another thing that can be helpful is life and wellness coaching. Being able to get a coach to help you to ask the right questions, to um, tap into your strength and tap into a new way of thinking and a new way of showing up, or recognizing and having a new insight or awareness of how things can be done, maybe differently than what you've done before. Life and wellness coaching can help with your, if you have limiting beliefs that hinder you from being more resourceful. So those are just some things that might be helpful in developing and cultivating intentionally and purposefully your resourcefulness. Again, mindfulness, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and life or wellness coaching. Now let's talk about accountability. What is it? How do you develop it? How do you use it? And how does it impact or influence your development? So, as we get into this conversation about accountability, it is taking responsibility for yourself, for your actions, and for your outcomes. I'm going to say that again. Accountability is about taking responsibility for yourself, for your actions, and for your outcomes. Accountability is how you show up, why you show up the way you do, and what you do once you show up. Here, I want to discuss accountability individually and collectively. Before you can be accountable to a group or have someone else hold you accountable, you must first be accountable to yourself. I want to be really clear here and emphasize this part, because a lot of times I see folks ask for other people to hold them accountable, but they're not holding themselves accountable. So, accountability to yourself, what does that mean, Robert? You must first determine within yourself of what responsibility and accountability is going to look like, sound like, feel like for you. But then also, it becomes really helpful to have a community that can hold you accountable, right? Being the best version of yourself. What does that look and sound like? Being around like minded people, right? Being around people who have higher values, and standards that if you're trying to aspire to, you get around folks like that to help elevate you, to help support you, help encourage and empower you. So those things can be helpful. What are some things that you can do to help with accountability? Setting goals for yourself. One of the things that I like to use is SMART goals. It's an acronym. SMART standing for specific, measurable, achievable, um, relevant or realistic, and then time specific or time oriented goals. Again, SMART goals. They help in defining and writing goals so that you can be successful in achieving and obtaining them. Also, how do you track what you're setting goals to do? So, some type of progress tracker, right, where you can track your progress. And then you can have accountability groups or programs. Those are things that can help develop accountability. So both, well, not it can help you to all three is what I want to say here. All three can help you to develop your accountability individually and collectively. So you can set goals, you can have a progress tracker, you can be part of a group, but then also those things could be something that that group helps you to develop and adhere to be able to show up as the best version of yourself. So these are some things that help with your accountability. So now that we've discussed these three components, resilience, resourcefulness, and accountability, how do we implement them in our personal, professional, leadership, and organizational development? So I want us to think about what we talked about resilience, resourcefulness, and accountability. I also gave you some tools and resources on how to purposefully, intentionally, and strategically cultivate or develop those. So let's use resilience and let's talk about using journaling as a tool to develop resilience in our personal, professional, leadership, and organizational development. So if I'm doing this personally, I might use journaling to help me to become more aware of challenges and opportunities for my growth and development. I might use journaling to help me to become aware of what I want, maybe what I don't want. Professionally, journaling might help me become aware of the skills that either I need to develop or skills that I have or need to have in order to be more resilient, get better outcomes, or promotion in my job, career, or my field. So journaling can help me to become more aware of that. And my as a leader, journaling can help me to become aware of the skills, the qualities, the characteristics that I might need to develop as a leader, or some of the challenges that I'm dealing with amongst the people that I'm leading, and how I can be more strategic in addressing them so I can better serve them. Organizationally, I can use journaling as a tool for my employees within the organization to be connected to the organizational values, mission, or to reinforce the type of organizational culture that we desire. So that's just an example of being able to use resilience and journaling as an example to develop or implement taking action and building or developing your personal development, your professional development, your leadership development, or organizational development. If you want additional tips, tools, or have additional questions, reach out to me after you watch this video. Again, thank you for stopping by to check out this video on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the channel. If you have additional questions, you can reach out to me. Also, check the description. You'll see 4 opportunities for communities that you can connect to. See you in the next video.